Well, that's fun. Okay, so everything just completely crashed on me all at once. That's amazing here. So I had open all of the right tabs to stream this properly, and then everything simultaneously crashed on me at the most unfortunate moment. But that's the sake of doing it live, I guess. This is what you get for having too many tabs open. Okay, so hopefully we're actually getting some audio now. Sounds like it. Okay. It looks like everything's working like it's supposed to, and hopefully we don't have any more technical difficulties, which is always a exciting way to start the live stream, right? All right, so I said all of this before, but I was completely muted and not able to actually talk about anything. So I use WordPress for a lot of development, and we had Heather on the show last week, and we worked with her to build a personal website that was a reflection of the design that she had created. We used WordPress and the 2021 website theme to go through and design a custom theme and look and feel for her website. So today we're going to be joined by my good friend Josh, and we're going to be working on developing a landing page website for an app that he created. And what we're going to be working on is using WordPress to facilitate the content management and that design. Now, we use WordPress for a number of reasons, and the biggest one is it's just the developer community behind it really enables us to do a rapid idea to reality and available online. And so we're going to kind of repeat that same process today by going through and building out that website with WordPress. So last time when we were working on this, we deployed Heather's website with just the default theme and a few plugins. So today we're going to be doing something fairly similar. We're going to be doing the same plugins, the Twin Tig and the 2021 theme for this website. Josh sent me over a few basic font ideas, but for the most part, we're going to be kind of starting from the beginning here with branding and developing this from scratch. We're going to be selecting the fonts, the icons, the color schemes, and taking what we learned in the last live stream with Heather's website and replicating that into this new website that we're developing as a landing page for this app. Now, when we're working on putting together a website, it's always good to know what the purpose is of that website. And in this case, for this application, the purpose of this website is going to be simply to inform. And we're going to inform viewers and essentially people who are looking at this website to that they are going to be informed what it is, what the app does, where you can download it, how you can contact the developer when you have issues. Very, very similar things. Now, when I was talking with Josh earlier, we actually came up with a couple of websites that we wanted to look at on today's stream, and those are just kind of going to give us an idea of what it is that we're going to be building as far as the design of the site. Okay, so let me pull up the first site here. Okay, so let's get the screen we're going to be working with today. Application, new deployment. All right, so we've got our WordPress up, and let's bring up some of the websites that I was sending to Josh earlier today about just different app landing websites. And when we're developing one new website, we want to think about what other websites might look like here. So this is one that just kind of showed up on my radar today. It's a teaches you, it's a money management sort of application. But if we want to break this down, it's got kind of the hero landing page. What does this website, or what does the app do? Click to action. So it's very informative as to what we want to accomplish. We want to direct users to what the application is, call to action, and a preview, and kind of design it in a playful way. So if we take a look at just another example here, here's a landing page for another app. This one is the Brave browser, which actually has desktops and mobile applications that make it really kind of a good example as to what you're going to be looking for if you need to do something that was more cross-platform. And then lastly, I wanted to pull up, let's see here, I pulled up Procreate. Now this website's a really good example of a very high quality app website. So it starts out here with a full page landing. So this is going to fill your browser up, and then as you scroll, it's got all of these animated effects that pop up as we go through. And so even this animated background, it just adds a different layer of depth to the website itself, which creates just a different experience for your users. It showcases, like, this is a high quality site. We really put the effort into making this be something that's good. So as you scroll through all the way to the very bottom, you get all of these animations. And if we scroll back up, a lot of these kind of pop back down, pop back up. And then lastly, we've got one more app website that we wanted to pull up for reference here. And that's this one here, Forest app. And this is strictly just another mobile application to use as an example. So as we scroll through here, it's kind of the same thing. We've got animations that have items transition in as you scroll through. And if we go back up here, same thing here. We've got, what is it? We've got the name of the app, what it does, lets you stay focused, be present, and where can you get it? App Store, Google Play. What's an example? Here's the example of what it looks like. And once again, they're using a kind of a whole full screen header. So if we just look at purely the header on all three of these applications, there's kind of a formula that we can go through and follow. Kind of the familiarity and what these all have in common are simply the header page, and they're all doing the same thing. Here's the name of the application. Here's what it does. Here's where you can get it. Here's what it can look like. Here's a nice hero background. And then back over to Brave. What is Brave? Well, it's a browser. What app's name? What it does. Where you can get it. What it looks like. Okay? Procreate's the same way. What is it? App name. What it does. It's kind of vague, but if you're at all familiar with Procreate and you're looking at this on the App Store, you'll know exactly what you're looking for. It's a paid app, so you've got to make an educated decision that this is something that you want. But a lot of creators use this and recommend it, and so they get a lot of really good word-of-mouth business. But it's the same formula as the two that we looked before, and the same thing as Forest. Name, what it does, and where to get it. So as we look further down, it's kind of the same details. So we have Forest does further details for their next block. Procreate does updates. We've got some features. This looks like a gallery. Yeah, this is a gallery slider. So it looks like they're probably using like a background image effect in CSS and then overlaying that with a gallery effect. What are they using here? Let's see, CloudFront. So they're using CloudFront as a CDM. It looks like Photo Swipe might be the we're seeing there, but it doesn't look to be WordPress. So features, and then so Procreate really dives into a formula of showcasing the features. Forest is doing the same thing. Features, just further details about what the application is. Same thing with Brave. What are the features? Brave for mobile, where else can you get this? And then legal details about the company. And if we go back to Clever Cookie here, it's going to be the same thing. Like, we've got name of the app, and then what are the features? Here's the features. And again, they're telling us other places that we can get this and becoming a beta tester. So we've got a call to action, another gallery in the footer. So what we can take away from these gallery, these different sites is essentially that we have kind of a good formula we can follow. App websites are really simple. We're as a user, we're mostly just looking for details about the company, what the app does, like, is this a thing that I actually want to install? Maybe we're looking for some details about the company. Maybe we have some questions, or maybe there's some frequently asked questions that we want to highlight for our app. Maybe we want to direct people on how they can contact us, or maybe we're just further expanding. Like, each one of these websites has the necessary information, and if our purpose of the website is to go through and to inform, then these are a winning formula for us to build upon. This, like, Procreate's got a community behind it and has just these different extensions. So with every service, with every application, once you have an identity is what your website's purpose is to do, you can look for other applications within kind of that same niche, that same sphere, and look for things that are going to give you a good example as to what you want to create. If somebody's already doing something successfully, then that's a good place to start, because you're leading by example, or I should say they're leading by example, and you're following their example to that success. So when we set up this website, we used WordPress, and we're starting out with a blank canvas here. Literally nothing's been done but just this hello world page. So in the course of this live stream, what we're going to be working on is building this out to be a full application, delivered information website. Yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. All right, so still waiting on Josh to get here, and one of the things I forgot to do was actually set up a user account for him to log into this site. So I'm going to take care of that really quick here. And then he gave me an email address that he wants me to use for this setup, which I'm not currently showing on screen for privacy reasons here. Stand by with me real quick. Let's see. There we go. That. Okay, so I just set up Josh a user account in WordPress for his new website, and we're going to use that for him to be able to manage the website, process the any changes that he wants to make, if he wants to do any sort of updates to the site, what have you. So let's talk about what plugins that we use when we're building our site. Now, all of the plugins that we're using in this demonstration and in development for this website are completely free. We're not using any paid plugins in the application build for this website. So everything that you see here, you're going to be able to replicate with pretty much only your hosting and domain cost, which is pretty exciting. So let's go over what's included. AskMet is great. It's an anti-spam plugin by WordPress that gets included with the WordPress install by default. It's actually free for personal sites. You can sign up for the commercial version as well. I throw on a coming soon plugin that we're using right now for development, just so that we can make sure that the website looks like what we want before it goes live. I'm also adding in Genesis blocks to just give us a few additional WordPress blocks to work in with the new Gutenberg block editor, which is included in the new version of WordPress, as well as redirection. Redirection's super handy because it allows us to create a redirection plugin redirection link from within WordPress. Now, This is extremely handy if you wanted to create a short link for your web page, or if you wanted to make a change to a web page but keep the wonderful SEO juice that flows to it. This allows you to set up regex inspired syntaxed URLs that can point to longer URLs, that can point one blog post where you can update to a newer one, you can redirect it, etc., etc. The possibilities of having just a visual editor for making redirections are just kind of endless, and it makes it easy. So the setup on this is just really quickly. We'll fix those issues, dismiss that. Let's try this again. Continue setup. Let's see. REST API is not working. I see. So this is giving us an error, and I'm going to show everybody how to solve this real quickly because I can already see the issue. So if we look at this, we're connecting on HTTPS, but something's telling the WordPress application to use HTTP, which is not secure and which unfortunately isn't really supported by our website. So the first thing that we're going to need to do to get our redirection plugin working is to fix the redirection for that. So we just need to go to settings in general and change this from HTTP to HTTPS. Hit save. Okay, now it's going to ask us to log in again. So give me just a moment here. We're going to go back over here. Actually, let me pull this up here while we're talking about it. WebDev Live is our website. This is also built on WordPress itself and has all the details about the show as well as the topics that we talk about on this and a list to our sponsor. So while we're going through and logging into that, I'm just going to leave that on screen here. Give me a second to pull up the credentials, which I did not have saved here for quick use, which if you're doing a live stream, that's probably something that you want to do ahead of time to make sure that it's easy to log into the site that you're showcasing and building live. But I guess that's part of being live is also making mistakes while you're working live here. So okay, let's go back to the redirection plugin setup here. Source URL, example. Let's start setup. Just going to monitor changes, and we can come back to that later. It's going to test this, and if all is well, yep, that was our issue here. Our redirection plugin is not working. Click Finish Setup. It's going to set up our plugin, and then it'll be ready and available to build URLs. So this plugin's handy for a number of reasons. And like I said before, you can redirect the source URL to the target URL. So we've got a pretty short URL here, so we could say, redirect the regex options, ignore, and say */get app, and then asterisk. And then we can say, this page doesn't exist now, but we can also have download latest version as like a longer URL. And so what this redirection plugin is going to happen is everything that's going to go to this get app is going to forward to there. So it's handy to have this when you're already building a WordPress website. It just gives you a quick place to make redirections for any number of reasons, whether it be you're changing the URL of a page, or you want to have something that gives you a little bit more tracking so that you can set up a separate link for, say, Twitter versus Facebook and kind of see what that traffic goes into. You can also see the number of hits that the URL gets before it gets redirected. So if you wanted to create a specific short link for an event that you're sharing on one place only, that's going to automatically expand it, but it's going to give you some of that tracking as well that you're looking for. And some providers like Twitter and Facebook will automatically compress that and change the link. Twitter especially will change the link to their own branded short URL, but you'll still get the information when it comes to the metrics as to what was hit inside of your analytics, which is important when you want to know where that traffic's coming from, and short links are a quick and easy way to do that. The redirections plugin allows us to have an easy way, a visual editor, to do that within WordPress, which makes us easy to present that to our customers and train them how to do it. Which, the more things that are accessible for them to make changes on, is both good and bad. Sometimes they do break things, but other times it reduces the amount of time that you have to spend making changes on their behalf, because that's what WordPress is great at, is that collaborative editing. In addition to redirection, we also just add a couple other plugins here. Safe SVG makes sure that the SVGs that we upload get sanitized before it gets saved. This makes sure that there's no bad code being injected into the SVGs that we're using. SendGrid is our outbound email provider for our contact form, and a number of other things for alerting and WordPress notifications. This allows us to use SendGrid in place of the PHP mailer function that WordPress ships with, or the WP mailer that some other plugins use. So using SendGrid uses the SendGrid API. Their free tier ensures that we will never have a problem with message delivery. So we can go through one of the setup instructions for SendGrid in another video here. The event calendar is another free WordPress plugin that just gives us a quick and easy way to integrate a events feed to our website. If we go over to the webdev.live site, our events are actually powered by that very same plugin, which gives us a lot of options, including filling out the event details. It allows you repeating events, that gives you upcoming event details, further details, as well. And this is one of the things that's really cool. You can actually have a subscription link that comes up with Google Calendar. So inside your subscribers' calendar, they can have a feed that gets auto-updated with your events. And this plugin powers it all, which is the events calendar here. Now, when it comes to building our website, one of the essential plugins that I have started including with my new WordPress builds is TwinTig. This is a huge toolkit for the 2021 and 2020 theme that makes building extended advanced feature sets within the website super easy. It extends the WordPress customization features for the theme itself so that you have a block editor for managing the header and the footer. And of course, if you've used WordPress at all, you're very familiar with Yoast SEO. Yoast SEO gives us a wonderful, easy-to-use framework for going through and checking the SEO quality of our post, as well as seeing what they look like in the feature preview. Now, I know that Facebook, and I believe Twitter has both of these as well, they have developer preview links that you can submit a URL, and it will show you exactly what's going to look like when a user shares it on their website. Yoast SEO gives you an idea of what that's going to look like for the search engine as well, but it does so right inside of the post. So part of what I've looked at doing this year for WordPress development in particular is integrating as much functionality as close to the core as possible. And what we've been working with is just the most important functionality, the most important plugins that do that and do that well. So when we're looking at our Hello World post here, this is just the one that gets generated when you do a new WordPress installation. We get the preview, and this is what Yoast SEO does, and why I like including it with these new installations. Yoast SEO gives you a preview what this is going to look like on the search engine. It gives you the ability to set a focus keyword. It will highlight that in your post and tell you exactly how well and how close you are to meeting the keyword postings, as well as adjusting your post slug, which is the end URL here. You can adjust the meta description, which is what appears in the search engine results when you share it, as well as cornerstone content. It's a powerful plugin. The SEO analysis, the previews, and everything. And this pairs extremely well into the native editors within WordPress. It supports every version, new and old, to give you the flexibility to see the search engine ranking before you make the post, so you know what to change before you need to make the changes. Like we talked about on previous live shows and just in general, one of the most important things within WordPress that just really changes just the overall appearance of your site when you share it on social media or through any sort of platform. Any of your users send your link through anything. It's just this. It's the featured image. This single-handedly can change the presentation. With this, every time that your post gets shared, that little preview image that pops up underneath it with the link on Twitter and Facebook and Telegram and Slack and every other platform out there, they're gonna grab the first image that shows up on the page. With WordPress, it's really easy just to drag and drop and set that featured image, as well as using the built-in media uploader and editor tools to just integrate and add that media to have it show up and look great for your site. All right, let's see what's going on here. So this is our plugin list that we're using for this build here. Once again, it's a small set of plugins. We try to keep our plugin list extremely lean when we're building this out. We don't want to do anything too complicated. The more plugins that you add, the more vulnerabilities that you add to the site. Now, don't get me wrong. Most plugin developers build these things with great intention, never necessarily with malicious intention at heart. But unfortunately, code gets old and people find problems within the existing code. They find vulnerabilities with dependency or something that they're relying on within their plugin, and that can be exploited and used to take advantage of your website, which is not something that we really ever want. So it's important that you minimize the number of plugins that you're using and you keep those plugins up to date. So, and if you're curious about where you can go through and install these plugins yourself, these are all available on the WordPress.org marketplace, and we will link to the same list in our show notes here. So we're just been informed here that my co-host for this episode, Josh, will in fact be joining us here in just a few moments here. He's just having some connectivity momentary issues here. Let's see here, just bear with me. So taking a look at the privacy policy that WordPress includes by default. So WordPress helps do a lot of things right and kind of out of the box. So this is a boilerplate template as to what a privacy policy could and should look like for your website. So all we're going to have to do here is essentially look over the service that's in here, make sure that it is current and valid to what our website's collecting, using, and offering, etc., and just updating it with the regulatory information that's needed, our contact information and additional information, how we protect your data, data breach procedures, etc., etc. For our usage for this particular application, a lot of this information isn't going to necessarily apply. How much data necessarily are we really going to be collecting from a website whose purpose is to inform? If it's a lot of information, I've got questions for you as to why you need so much information for your analytics. Speaking of analytics, I've been asked previously what I use for monitoring my analytics for the websites. And it is a mix. It's primarily based off of the analytics driven from the DNS provider. For me, I use Cloudflare, and I use the analytics from their DNS request rather than a third party that's having a requirement to inject any sort of JavaScript into the pages. This allows me to minimize the tracking efforts that are pushed out by third-party vendors as much as possible, as well as giving me some basic insights as to where my traffic's being referred to from and what pages are they looking for. You can get more detailed insights for other analytics services, and there are some open source and third-party ones that don't carry the same questions as the bigger parties do. Google Analytics, however, is tried and true and does work extremely well if you wanted to pull up a report as to what your site's doing. WordPress, if you install the Jetpack plugin, also gives you tremendous amounts of insight as to where your traffic's coming from. So I'm going to, first of all, start adjusting a few settings in here, such as what this is. This is not a new deployment. This is the Nextcalc app. And this is just another calculator. Save that. That's just going to update a few basic sort of features throughout the site. Okay, so we've got that set up. We're still going to be working on our theme here. Pause for just a moment. Okay, so what kind of pages are we looking for to set up that are going to be essential here? See, we've got a support page, which leads into, of course, an FAQ. So it seems like this is the other thing that these sites are all going to have. Come in here. Oh, press kit's kind of interesting. Where does this take us? Oh, that's funny. It's just instantly linking us to a Google Drive here. Interesting. I'll dive into that one more later. Okay, that's our site. So we've got this one, which is just a single page landing page, and there he is. Okay, folks. I am pleased to announce my good friend and our co-host for this guest co-host for this episode, and whose website we are actually going to be building today. His name is Josh Angelsberg, and I'll have on here.
Hello.
Josh, welcome on to Web Dev Live. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Sorry I'm late. Everything seems to mess up at the last second. I'm using wired headphones. My AirPods are dead.
It's okay. For the first 10 minutes of the stream, there was no audio at all. I had it connected to the wrong audio source. So that's a great way to start everything is by starting it completely wrong. So
oh man.
Yeah,
no worries.
I kind of just been going over WordPress, why we like it, what we're using it for, and kind of how it makes our life really easy. So we've got a number of plugins that I'm really excited to be working with that make the whole build easy. I sent you over your login for the web page for yourself to be able to log in and make changes, and I'm going to show you a number of things right now on how to customize this so you can get it to be exactly what you want it to look like, so that you're not sitting there having to wonder or think about like, hey, I'm gonna have to call Roger and have him make a change to my website because like whatever, I can't figure this out or something, because that's not true. WordPress makes it so easy to go through and adjust and make changes to your website that we want to facilitate that, and we want to take advantage of what WordPress can offer us using the plugins that extend the native functionality. We're using the base theme and just kind of integrating things as close to the core as possible. And the reasons why we want to do this is, I mean, WordPress has been around for what feels like forever, and their developers have done a phenomenal job of keeping this up to date. The new themes and the Gutenberg editor make everything extremely easy to use, and using kind of the core developer, the core first party, gives us a lot of advantages. So, Josh, can you give us a little bit of background as to what you do, what the purpose of this website is for, and just give us a little bit of a background on your app so that we can kind of know what we're talking about and dealing with today here.
Yeah. So the app that we're making a website for, it's going to be a launch page for the app that I've been working on. And the app that I've been working on is called NextCalc, and it is it's basically a like intuitive and like beautiful calculator that I want to make. So anyone knows, a lot of people in the, like, if you go like on Twitter, on Reddit, everyone complains all the time that there isn't a calculator on the iPad. So that was like one of the first things I wanted to do, is like, I need to have a calculator on this iPad, something that works well with slide over, something that works well in multitasking. I also wanted, I recently got into iOS development a few years ago, so I wanted this to be like a vessel for me to like learn iOS development from everything that I'm interested in. So it has like tons of animations and it's fluid. So I'm getting ready to release it soon, and I want it to be free because I want everyone to be able to use it. But we need a landing page so people can see about it online. Maybe for people to, it's like a marketing thing, so people can see like what it is without downloading it. Also can host the terms of use and privacy policy, which will be very small because I don't collect anything. Yeah, I think that's an overview.
So let me ask you,
think?
Josh, can you get the screen share set up so that we can maybe highlight what this app looks like? I know you're streaming from a Mac here, so if you just hit that, if you pull it up and hit the screen share button, it should give you an option to cast a mirror of your phone or the dev environment. But I think it would be really cool just to showcase why we're building this app. I think I've been a part of the beta test from this for a while now, and I really value some of the advanced features that you started to include into this, and in addition to the core feature set as well. Because you know what, like there are a couple calculator apps on the App Store, but they are filled with garbage ads, which make them almost unusable.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, it's terrible. Or I found a really good calculator, but it costs like $3 a year, and I was like, I don't know anyone's going to pay a subscription for a calculator. It would be the dream.
I mean, like, how? I think you talked about some premium features that's at one point of possibly including the ability to import some skins so that you can have gold-plated buttons on your calculator. Is that correct?
I have basic theming in the free version. I was thinking I might make it like more customizable in a premium feature. That is, people do love their themes, and maybe different layouts. Someone was just pinging me on Twitter, and they're talking about how they would love different layouts, which would be really cool. The main thing I was thinking of was right now, like, let me see if I can show it, but I was kind of making it as like a calculator platform was kind of what I was going for. Let me see if I can share. So if I hit share screen, it's just going to show my screen, isn't it?
You'll be able to select a application window here, and it's going to add it to the bridge here for me to add to the screen. So once you share it, I'll see a preview image for me to add.
Gotcha. It says that I need to give Chrome accessibility, so that probably means I might have to quit Chrome. Yep. Is that okay?
Yeah. Just click yes to all of the agreements, and we trust them with our data. So we have a comment here on our Twitch stream from one of our viewers here asking about, will you have culinary measurements and conversions? As a chef, I'd find that super useful. So I think we're talking about converting cups to football fields so that we can make an adequate amount of pizza or something.
I wasn't planning on putting that in the app. I know that is very common in a lot of calculators, and I feel like a lot of it's already been done a bunch of times. I might add it. Most of the time for that stuff, I usually ask Siri, and then that's like the fastest way to get to it. But
Do
I
you
was
think it?
planning on having specific calculators in it. So like maybe I might, and that might be a premium feature where it would be a conversion um, rates for different things that you can add. Yeah.
It turns out that if I click this button over here, I can feature the comment on here. So our
Oh,
user says
sweet.
that they actually absolutely need to convert 7 cups into 4 football fields here. So maybe that's something that we're gonna have to
That's
figure
probably
out here.
like
So
2,000 cups.
I'm curious.
Makes
now
one
here.
big pizza. Um,
Yeah, that's more complicated than my search results going to yield in the short time period that I have here.
Wolfram Alpha.
We'll get there. Maybe we can integrate that to your website as a search possibility here. So,
I have to be able to share my screen. I have to quit Chrome. So
you're going to get disconnected. I get it.
Is that okay? I will be right back.
Yeah, not a problem. Cups to square footage by volume.
BRB.
See now we're talking about breaking down the conversion method of getting that and
or actually,
did it just pull it up?
I didn't have to quit. Did it actually? What the hell?
I see it there. Let me know when you're
Oh,
ready.
Don't cancel that one. Actually,
you're in control here. So
am I in control? Perfect.
We're going to be bringing up a preview of what the calculator that we're going to be designing today looks like. And if I can pull it up quick enough here, I can actually give our users here a link to the beta with the test flight.
Yeah, it's on test flight. I've been working on this in my free time for like 2 years now, which is not an economical decision. So don't be like me, kids. Because you have to pay to have it on test flight. You have to pay Apple like $100 a year.
So as they say here, don't do code, kids.
Boom. Here it is. If you can see it, it's so dumb. Mac's like, hey, you need to restart your app, and I didn't, and it worked. So
okay, so it's capturing your microphone on there. I don't know why it's doing that, but that's fun here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's just showing it in your preview image. It's no big deal though.
Oh. Let's not have it highlighted. There you go. Perfect. So I'm currently tweaking. I keep making minor tweaks in every update, but this is what it currently looks like right now. And something you might notice that is different from like 99% of all other calculators is there is a blinking cursor right there, which means you can actually type an in-fix expression. So you can see the expression as you type. And as you start writing bigger expressions, it splits on multi-line, so you can see the whole expression and see the answer in real time.
Now, if you're looking at our stream right now in the top right hand corner, there is a QR code that will allow you to download the beta version of this through Apple's test flight and test out the awesomeness of this application for yourself. So
and leave some feedback. Let me know what you think. That'd be awesome.
So we've got the base calculator features that's in here, but what really makes this calculator stand out from just the one that's built into your phone already? Like, why would I use this over Apple's version of the calculator?
Yeah, well, for sure. So, like, I think so. The first thing I wanted to capture was the cursor, because I freaking hate in the normal system calculator where you can't see what you're doing. You can't go back and edit things. So you can, on this one, you can literally just swipe left and right on the keypad and just move the cursor around. So I can change this to be a different number, or you can double tap on a number and then change it in line. And then when you hit the big equals button, which I'm playing around with an icon, but it's actually not an equals button. You push it, and it actually saved it to the database. So there's a history of all your expressions. And then to get to that, all you do is you can swipe down, which does like the music like animation. And you have your history right here with everything that you've done in the past, which is pretty sweet. And then if you want to edit one of them, you can just tap on it and it brings it right up.
Here's a question from one of our viewers. Does it allow for pasting of copied text?
Absolutely. So you can, so say I just add a plus button here. You can come in here. Well, this is a bad example, but you can long press these and then say you copy the answer. You can come up here and then paste it in. At least you should be able to.
So you could even paste from your history, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can. Well, if you want to paste from your history, actually, all you have to do is just tap on it right there, and it pops it back in. But yes, it does support copy and paste. There are some bugs here and there that I'm trying to work out, so you can cut and then you can paste. Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite features, and I know we had some discussion on this, is actually the advanced feature set with the receipt feature. That's something that I found was pretty handy when you're talking about the itemized bill splitter. So unfortunately, it's not going to get a lot of much use out of that feature right now because we're not all going to restaurants and splitting the bills. But when we do get to that point again, one of the things that I love about your application and your calculator is actually the feature set to do that itemized bill split. If if you can pull that up here, I think that would be pretty cool just to show an example of what that looks like, because this is built in. I think it's a really one of my favorite features about this actually is
it's was the most fun to do. So that's why this has been taking so long, is because I ended up splitting my time in making this itemized bill splitter. And I was like, should I put it in a different app? Should I put it in this app? So my plan was to have, I don't know if my current plan is to have maybe pro like flows inside of here. So like we have this more section that we were looking at, and right now it has a coming soon section. It says itemized bill splitter. It could have more. I have like a bunch of ideas of like specific flows that would be really helpful. So what this itemized bill splitter is it actually allows you to take a picture of a receipt, and then it parses the receipt and then picks, it basically digitizes the receipt, so you can see like the name of the item, how much the item costs, and then you can assign that item to a person, and then you go to the next screen, and then it will be able to show you how much each person owes.
Now, on that feature, Josh, does that require internet access to use? If I'm in a restaurant with poor service coverage, will it work? Is it using a third-party service, or is it running natively?
It does not require internet. It is running natively. It's using Apple's own image OCR technology in iOS 13 and above.
So what does that mean for privacy then? If it's not using a third party or connecting to the internet, does that mean everything's kind of staying within my phone and not leaving? So they're not going to see what heinous things I'm scanning into my receipts?
Yeah, no, it all stays on device, and I'm not collecting anything either, so it's all very privacy focused.
All right. So one of the things that I actually showcased, you can see my screen right now, right, Josh?
Yep. You stopped sharing for a sec, but
yeah. So one of the things that we talked about previously on before you joined here was actually one of the built-in pages, which was relevant too. Is WordPress actually has a privacy policy template built into any sort of new deployment that you do. So this is kind of just included out of the box. They give you a template to start with for writing your privacy policy. So I mentioned previously that one of the great things about working with your application is you don't actually collect a lot of information. So it's going to be pretty easy to adjust what's included in the default template to be really relevant for your app and host that information that you need for your users. So where do you want to start in building your site? Because we talked about how kind of the general formula is these hero page, kind of these hero headers with this big background, name of the app, description, and a call to action sort of button. So I kind of figured we wanna go with kind of what works, so to speak, and take after what's kind of being proven to be successful from other players in the field. And in following with that formula, we can actually use WordPress to kind of build out any kind of design aspects that we want. Since we already have kind of the preview image of what we want this to look like, it's going to be pretty easy to lay out. So one of the things I had asked you about previously was our color schemes and fonts, and you had replied back to that question that you simply were using the Monster Rat font so far. So, super common font. I love that one. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about when we're designing your website are what kind of color schemes that we're going to go with, because part of the customization process in building your site has a lot to do with color schemes. I'm figuring that you don't want to go with this default green and black. We probably want to do something a little bit more attuned to the design aesthetic of your application itself.
Yeah. Probably blue and orange and black. It's kind of the core theme so far.
Blue and orange and black. Are we thinking about doing most likely? So blue and orange and black was probably going to want to do a nice clean background for just the bulk of the text. And when we were talking about fonts previously, we were talking about the Monster Rat set.
I just made that so fast using another app, and so that I'm not sure if I am not stuck on that font at all. So
well, I think personally we should go with the Comic Sans Papyrus pairing. And I think that's going to give us a quality user experience ultimately with those two fonts. So we have a number of options. So WordPress and TwinTig add a couple of things with us. We're looking at the TwinTig customization options within the WordPress theme customization. So one of the things that TwinTig does is it gives us an override for just the fonts. And WordPress gives us live previews to see exactly what the changes are going to look like on those fonts. So for us, we're going to start with our favorite font here. So we've got boldness for the headers and a little bit more of the lightness, a little bit lighter on the fonts lower down here. So we can go with this. We can continue kind of looking through the different customization options, adjust it a little further. Like these are just the pairings that are included. PT Serif and PT Sans are actually one of my favorite that I kind of go to here often. But I think Oswald and Roboto are another picks of my favorite fonts here. So Monster Rat, we can start with this, and WordPress, like we said, makes it easy to go back through and give you, the customer user, the control over the site to change it if you decide you no longer like the way that it looks. So I think this is a good starting point with our fonts here. We're going to probably want to start with a blank page for the main landing and then come back and adjust the customization of the rest of the site. So we are about at the 1 hour mark here, and I wanted to just give a quick shout out here to my friends at Black Mountain Coffee Roasting, who provided this episode's coffee roast. And if you are watching our show and check the show notes here, you will actually be able to get a 10% coupon off of any gross that you choose from there. And you can find that on our website at webdev.live and click on episode 2, which is what you're watching right now. And you'll find that coupon code and a link to their coffee store so that you can check out. And they ship all over the US, flat rate and all that good stuff. So check them out. And we thank them. We thank Black Mountain Coffee for their delicious coffee roast. So, back to building your site here. We've got your font selection completed. So let's publish those changes. And if you go to the next calc.app website, you're just going to see a coming soon page until we wrap up kind of the rest of their changes to turn that off. So we're going to start by creating a new page, and we're going to make.
I just have to check it out for myself.
It's beautiful. Now, if you log in, you'll be able to see all of the in progress stuff. So
gotcha.
So this is going to be our home page, and what we're going to do is so if we preview this right now in a new tab, which is what I'm going to do now, we're going to see the formatting for kind of every page, but we're not necessarily going to want to use the same formatting we're using on every other page for our home and landing page. So in the page attributes, we're actually going to tell this not to use the default template, but to do no header, no footer, and then we're going to preview that in a new tab again, which will refresh that new tab that we opened, and it will show us in exactly what we want. Nothing. Or more specifically, a blank canvas to begin with.
Minimalism.
Yep. So we've got a great starting point because included in the plugin selection is a ton of layouts that we can start with. So rather than having to go through and design and lay these out ourselves, we can pull a pre-built layout and modify that. So for what we want to do, I don't necessarily know if any of these are going to really apply to our main header image, so we may have to do that ourselves. We can... I think this will work. We'll start with the slate text with a call to action. So, right, ready to make your next step. What's your tagline, Josh? Are we ready to take the next step to having a calculator?
My current tagline is "Welcome to the modern era." So, modern ear.
Yeah, it doesn't. I got something wrong there, right?
Is that grammatically incorrect?
That's it. That's what it's telling me, but it's saying I know that.
Awesome. I know math, not English.
Okay, so we're gonna change this underneath here and tell us next
calc. I need someone to make a super sweet promo video.
Calc. I spell well.
Welcome to the modern era
of calculations. Okay, so
explosion in the background. Okay.
I think if you're talking about a promotional video, you really got to go over the top. I'm talking about Transformer style explosions coming in there, just rolling, jumping in, saving the day, and being like, "Oh, thank God you're here. We need to know, what was that calculation you made on Tuesday? The fate of the world depends on it." And then they just opened the calculator app.
And you scroll through your history.
Scroll through the history. All right, so
oh my God, that's amazing.
One of the things that we may want to do here, and this is more of a design aesthetic. Do you want to extend this to be full page, or do we want to just drop down in the feature? From our sample pages, it's kind of a mix as to how that gets set up. Each one kind of does it a little different. Like Procreate takes the full page layout approach. Brave gives us the split header. Forest does the full header. So with our example case, which I may have just gone to way too quickly, but with our example set of websites,
Yeah.
it is a 50% split on whether or not you're doing a 100% view header or a 80% view header. So what do you visualize for having that set up on your site?
It's probably going to be black. So, I don't know. I kind of like the full header, and then it's like cropped or something. My initial thought would be black, but maybe it shouldn't be black. Maybe it should be something else.
Well, we can change the color pretty
Yeah.
easily. So
Well, some of those had a nice like video. Like,
you're
probably be
talking.
sweet to have a video in the background with
You want to
someone
do
using
like
an iPad.
a background image of okay, so stock. Let's see, iPad. Let's do. I think we can use Pixelbay for that. Pixelbay gives us free video art, I believe. Videos. iPad.
Pixelbay.
Let's just. I can try it. Not try iPad. That's iStock photo here. So this works. It's so easy a child can do it. Yeah. So I mean, this is a starting point. We can use any sort of background videos. This links into other stock photography sites as well. So some of these are paid, some of these are free. But
right.
Let's see. Maybe that one's neat. Something like this, possibly, where it's kind of like they got that tablet off to the side, working from one screen. And then it'll loop back.
Yeah, it was just an idea I came up like on the fly. That actually does look pretty sweet. Yeah.
All right, we'll download that. Let's see. We'll come back over. So we've got this. So drag and drop files, show in folder. Drag that guy down. I did something wrong here. I did not wait. That's what I did. I did not wait. Expected response. Load the page. Save draft. Alright, so that's just always fun. I got an error with uploading it, so let me take a look here and see if it completed it in the media library. Trying to upload the video that I just downloaded and gave me an error, so I'm trying it again. Gave me another error.
Fun.
Suspicious. Okay, so what we're trying to do right now is we're going to go ahead and add a background video, but maybe let's see if I can just get some other background video to work for you. So we want to customize this to probably also have a preview screenshot of what your app's going to look like. Now, I happen to have already downloaded that, but we're running into kind of an issue with the layout, as this block doesn't necessarily have the column layout that we want to present our app. So that's the advanced columns. Let's remove that block. We're going to hit browse all and go over to the column section inside of the design category here. And we're going to showcase a preview of what this is going to look like on the right. So we've got two columns here. And now we have the split so we can kind of have an image. And what's that image going to be of, Josh? That image is going to be of, yes, you guessed it. That's in the media library. I uploaded earlier. It is going to be an image of calculator. So obviously we might want to, well, maybe not necessarily obviously, but the formatting on this is less than desirable. But
yep, to be desired.
Just for fun, let's go ahead and switch over to the preview here. Okay, so when we added the image, it extended the size of the overall size of our header, but it obviously does not look the way that we want it, which it's problematic. So I don't know why we're getting issues here, but let's use a unsplash for now, and let's go with let's use like some sort of nice nature-y location for the background image on that block for the moment. We can swap it out with something.
Yeah.
What's a nature type location that brings you inspiration and joy?
I don't know, probably a sunset. It's also orange, so it'd be on theme. Whew.
Which one are you seeing? This one? This one?
I want to pick the first one, but wouldn't everyone pick the first one?
It doesn't matter. We can always change it later on. So this is.
Oh yeah, see that guy right there in the photo? He's probably using the calculator.
He's calculating his.
How high am I before I die?
Elevation change until you run out of oxygen. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's go back to this block, background image, select image. Now Simon's, that's gonna work great because we didn't upload a massively large size. I'm hoping
MP4 or something. Yeah.
MP17. It's the photo credit for our guys that I'm just going to leave in the description there.
Boom! Damn, it's already looking good.
It's already looking better than it looked when we started, which when we started it was looking like nothing because it didn't exist, and here we are
coming soon.
Building the reality that will be your website. Okay, once again, generating the preview. Okay. So, this already looks pretty good. But, I think we can do better. I think we need to probably adjust this picture here so that it's not, well, there's a lot of things that we don't like about that picture. But I think the first thing that we have a problem with is where it's sitting. So let's adjust the text down. Come on, snap back into that box. We might have to adjust the font sizing of this. Let's take this down to a 10H3. Did that not? Oh, man. It doesn't want to adjust here.
Weird.
So we're gonna have to add some styles between the different headings, but we can adjust the font manually on the top typography side for the block over here. So we're just gonna bring that down just a tad so it fits, and then when we bring this block up here, it's gonna adjust the size of the page of it. We want that snapped there. I said we want that to go. Wow. This does not.
Just show me the HTML. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, see, you bring up a good point because the HTML exists. There we go. We can actually, we're gonna do that here because, but we're gonna do that for the larger box. So this is part of the beauty of the new WordPress editor is they give you the edit as HTML. Boom, right there. You can do everything that we want. So we've got our background side. I think background position. So this is right at the end of the style code here. One of the things that I recently have realized is extremely valuable to do is right inside of the div class declaration, you can actually include style tags within the HTML. What this means is in the block, you can include style tags. So for us, what are we going to include a style tag for, right? Well, we want to go through and extend the min IGHT, and we want the minimum height. What do we want the minimum height to be? We want that to be 100, but 100 what? We want that to be 100% of the view height. So we're going to semicolon that bad boy out of there, and we're going to preview what that change does to our life.
100% is
the whole page, and it didn't like that. So let me ask you, Josh. Do you know what the single most powerful web design tool there is? And the answer may surprise you.
I'm not sure. Text
I've got
editor?
close. I've got one tool in my arsenal that's more powerful than anything else, and it's my web
Inspect
browser.
element?
Developer tools
Yep.
gives you a lot of beautiful things, and you're exactly right. And we get this bad boy open and inspect, and let's just solve what the heck did I do wrong? Because that CSS code was flawless. I know that CSS code. He's a really good friend of mine, and I know he couldn't have done anything wrong. So let's just go ahead and find this here. Max width, style max width. Why is that here? That's for the content below it. Has background. Did I add? I think I added the height to the wrong spot. Or it just, you know what? It just didn't apply the HTML changes. That's what happened. It says that I put in invalid HTML. Okay, so
that would do it.
Advanced additional CSS classes. That's what we should do. That would probably make sense. So instead of trying to repeatedly break this again and again, we're gonna go and add a custom CSS class. So instead of, again, breaking everything.
Is that going to be in the file or in a separate file?
So we're gonna add. I added a class to the block, to that full page, that full block that we wanted to extend out, and I named it full-vh, and then we're going to specify in our custom CSS. So this is a good example of using the custom CSS property inside of WordPress.
I think I'm not seeing changes on the screen sharing.
Yeah, give it a second. Give me a second here. I'm checking CSS.
Like, I don't see you typing.
Yeah, I'm pulling up a reference to make sure I type something right. And I was about to do everything wrong. So there's supposed to be a period there. And now we're going to use the minimum height property. For that class.
We all know you pulled up W3 schools.
You know, Josh, I wish I could tell you you were wrong. Let's just give a shout out to w3schools.com, which
Totally
is an invaluable
called it.
source of references for HTML, CSS, and more. And it was what I had open in my other tab. So we've got our min height tag as specified within our CSS sleep. What this means is now we have a reusable CSS class that we can apply to different parts of our website. Should we ever want to make another full height view header again, we can reuse that class, which is part of what makes CSS awesome. And WordPress makes it extremely easy to add that custom CSS. So if we go back to editing our nextcalc.app page where we're doing the bulk of our work, we should now have that extend. If we go advanced, we see that class. And if we preview this in a new tab, I'm hoping that we did this right. But who knows? Because it's a live show, everything goes wrong.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, look at that.
Nice.
Look at that. We got it doing the thing that we were told ourselves that we were going to do.
The calculator is in the stratosphere.
The calculator is available on iOS through test flight. If you would like to download that, you can visit webdev.live/EP02 and find the link.
Yep.
All right, so we have a problem though, because obviously we want a transparent background for the calculator, and it's not a transparent background on the calculator.
Well, I can give you that later.
Can you give that to me? So we're gonna leave that as is for now, but we got a good starting point. Yeah, like we've got the full
Let me
page.
see if I can do it.
Layout here. We're probably gonna want to add the logo for NextCalc somewhere. So. But if we look over our checklist that we were talking about earlier in the show, we qualify our landing page with all three things that we need. The name of the application, what it does, and where to download it. We've got a call to action as our button, and a preview of what the application is going to look like, which is the same thing that all of our example websites went through and had set up. They've got the same items that we're looking to replicate. When we were doing our research, we did find that it was split in between whether or not it was going to have a full background or a partial background. And in talking with Josh, we decided to go with the full background. And in order to accomplish that, we had to use some custom CSS code inside of WordPress and then apply that to our WordPress block in order to extend it. Benefit of doing so means that code is now reusable. Anytime that we want to extend the block element to be full screen, we can just reuse the full -vh CSS class that we created. So actually, Josh, you know what's funny is your app landing page is pretty much, well, we can just sign off now and call it done because it's got all of the elements that we need. It just... Well,
I sent you a
things.
new picture, but I don't know. For some reason, I don't know if it saved it as transparent.
It sent me a JPEG. Did you mean to give me a GIF or a GIF or a ping?
PNG, of course. I don't know why it saved it as a... Let me see if I sent it to you directly. This app that I'm using is a little limited right now. Did that come as a PNG?
It gave me a black...
Oh, it did! No, maybe.
No, you can attach that as a file, and that will give me the right version. So we are working on getting a transparent version of the app. But I think what I'm actually just gonna do is take the one that you posted to Twitter earlier and make it a transparent background real quick here.
Yeah, it should be super easy.
That still give me a JPEG. JPEG all the way. Just give up, man. I got it.
I don't know why.
You failed me for the last time.
The limitations of iOS.
Sure. Blame the technology when we in fact know what the real problem exists. The real problem exists in between the touch screen and... Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that one.
And iOS.
Save that. Okay, so I'm going to iOS. So we're gonna replace this image because I made a better one.
I have it now.
Well, it's too late. I also have it. That still sent me a JPEG.
Are you serious? It's Telegram. Telegram's the fault. There's the problem.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll figure that. We can change that later. For now, I did get a transparent version working, but we don't necessarily know if this is the position that we want it in. So
yeah, you got
what that may mean is we may have to be doing even more custom CSS to get that position how we want. For now, it's like it's floating in the cloud. I think for ease of use, Josh, if we just got a full screenshot
full size
of that,
one?
Full size.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I'm going to change one of the buttons, so it would be wrong right now.
That's fine. But if we look at how Forest and Procreate are doing it, they have the full screenshot with the preview of the phone.
Yeah.
And you got most of that, and I think it would be pretty easy.
Well, I went with half of it because I wanted the title on top and wanted it to be big. And I also wanted to cover up my mistake. The main thing.
Your mistake was doing the live show.
No, I'm in my latest. I haven't pushed it to test flight. In my latest local build, I changed a button, and I'm gonna revert it back.
That's fine. That's a good point. well, we can go back through and replace the image later. So let's call this page okay.
So I think I do really like that. What is it? The Forest app. I used to use that app. It's a pretty good app. So I do like their layout. It looks pretty good. I think I want to have a picture of the iPhone and the iPad next to each other, probably. So that would be sweet.
I think you probably find.
Well, I mean, not like just some photo, but like of my app. Like here's what it looks like on the iPhone. Here's what it looks like on the iPad.
So something like this, but you'd want to just replace the screenshots that are on there. So I mean, you can even have your app opened up on both and stack them on top of them, and then take a picture of the two devices and produce your own sort of stock photography, which would be kind of fun.
Yeah. I think more like the middle one at the top there, probably.
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's however you want to generate that stock footage. I mean, that's kind of design aesthetic choice, so to speak here. So we've got this as sort of our main landing page. We may want to add another block underneath it about your features.
That sounds good.
So we're just going to toss in heading and features, and then underneath here, I believe there's a built-in list box even. So there you've got a couple options here that we can use. We can just use a standard sort of list accordion style, which gives you kind of the expansion. So accordion title, like our main feature.
And you're saying it's an accordion, so can they expand and maybe show a video of the feature? Could that be a thing?
So we click out of here, okay? And so we preview this. But yeah, so the accordion style, when we scroll down here, it's going to say, okay, our main features, right? And then we're going to expand that, and it's going to give us this. But if you notice, we automatically have a problem here. This next block is
too low.
Way too low, and we don't have any room to scroll down. Now, this is occurring because we're using a blank template for this page rather than the default site for WordPress. So we're missing out on a few stylizations. Most notably, on this page, we're missing the footer. So what we're going to go through and do is inside of our blank page that we're working on here, we're going to set up that footer. Now, I think this accordion style, I think this isn't going to serve well for features. I think for your pages here, this is actually going to serve better as the FAQ section. So you have, what's the question that gets frequently asked? What is a calculator? And then like right underneath that block, we can say, this allows you to... It's not even typing.
It's not even typing. I can hear you typing.
I wonder.
See you typing.
I'm curious on your.
Are you typing?
On your question here is, can we embed a video into the accordion here? Let's just see.
I feel like that would be kind of cool because there's some features that I would like to show off, like how to use the floating cursor, how to quickly change numbers, how to save things to your favorites.
All right, so let's see if we can use the accordion feature with an embedded YouTube video, because that would be pretty cool. What's a calculator? Boom! Would you look at that? We can expand that into a video. So what you would be able to do is take videos, release those onto your YouTube channel like we talked about in previous conversations, and then publish those as part of your FAQs. So not only are you creating the content for that channel that we wanted to do, you're also producing valuable resources for your users and people that want to experience what your application is, and being able to showcase what those feature sets are. So I think the accordion is going to be great for that FAQ.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're going to still need a good section. Let's see, layouts. What do we get here? Let's see.
So I've actually I feel like I have a lot. I've been making calculators for a while now. It's kind of sad, but I think the most asked question is like, where is the percent button, and how does it work? So that's probably a good one to add to the facts.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything I like there. So let's just, I'm going to set up just a basic 3-column layout for your footer here. We're going to columns. And did that give me, did I go to the advanced columns? We're just 30, 30, 30. We're going to send that to the very bottom of the page here. I'm going to repeat that process. So one of the beautiful things that I love about drag and drop editors is how often I have to fight with them to make them go where I want. And it's one of these things that I feel like you just have to put it in the right spot.
Like the developers making this tested it, right?
There's ways around it. Sometimes it's mostly it's user error, man. Let's just admit it right now.
User error.
Now. It's user.
I was just thinking. I was just wondering if it would be better if it was a native app.
I feel like that's almost a sting against me here. So
what? No way. I'm just like browser drag and drop. Maybe is not the best.
Okay, so
in general.
We have the view height header class for our CSS for full height, but what we don't have is one for half height. We don't have a half height or a less than half height. So what if we wanted to do more than just minimal height property than full? What if we wanted to do
change that to 50 or?
Well, we're just gonna add another one.
And that's a percentage?
Yeah, so this is VH stands for view height, and
it sounds like a percentage.
It's a percentage. So it's the percentage. I'm hitting buttons that I'm not meaning to. So one of the things that I think I need to improve is swap the keyboard for when I'm doing this to using the quieter version. Okay, so we got 25,
butterfly
50,
keyboard. Just kidding.
100. Oh my god, get out of here. No. So let's publish our changes to our CSS, and then our footer block that we're developing here. We're just going to add a paragraph to that center. And what are we going to say at the bottom of our page here, just in the footer?
In the footer? I don't know. Made by... Yeah, exactly. Made in California by humans. Just kidding.
Made in California by...
Designed in California, made in... I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Designed and made in California.
We'll come back to your Apple-inspired text later.
Now that looks good.
So one of the things that we're going to want to do is apply...
Now I kind of want an app icon with Einstein's face on it. So
25-view height is going to apply that like we wanted to, and we're going to preview update this. Okay, getting closer.
This is looking pretty sweet.
So we've got our impromptu footer here, but we are still lacking the spacing that we want.
Is it because we're using full height? Like if we were to use...
Yeah,
would it crop the photo or something if it wasn't?
So the full height is what we're using for the background up here.
I guess otherwise it would be black anyways, right?
Yeah, so we're applying that on advanced columns, but we're not using advanced columns here. So that's our issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new advanced column block like we have up there. And we're just going to make that a single block, because it's in the column block that we can actually apply our 25 view height class that we were using. And now we should be able to take these blocks and move them to that column here. Nope. It is still very unhappily not accepting my changes. But you know what? Sometimes it's faster to give up on click and dragging and just do it again.
Yeah. Made. I was thinking the landing page it could be also a good place for to accept like donations.
Do you have anything set up?
No, nothing set up. Like I was looking around and I've seen people like just link to PayPal or something. I was thinking of doing that.
PayPal works. You could also do Patreon and Ko-fi.
Patreon though is only subscription, right?
Yeah, if you wanted people just to be able to do standalone like one-time type of donations.
I'm not sure. I subscription, like I don't want it to be a subscription, but if they want to annually or monthly tip me, that would be fine. Wouldn't be opposed.
Okay, so I got this is fun. So if we scroll down here, we're getting more of that scrolling now, but it's not moving this to the bottom of the page. It's not anchoring it to the bottom, to the footer like we'd want. It's just putting it in there. So that's fine. That's something that we can work with. But the important thing is that this is a little bit, this doesn't make your whole browser adjust on the page, you know. But we can also apply that page height syntax that we put in there. I'm going to see if I can get if I apply the 25% to work now. Because previously, I don't think it was refreshing the CSS that I created. Yeah, it's still not pulling those changes. But what's important here is let's just finish adding in the rest of the content. So we got that. After this block, let's just duplicate this guy. Send it down.
Ooh.
Send it down. Up.
Oh, that works way better than drag and drop.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's just sometimes it's just easier to use the text drop down menu. So insert after. How are you gonna explain your features? Maybe you know what would be.
So
really
I
cool.
have a here. Let me send you something. Like I don't know, 6 months ago or so, I made a GitHub Pages. I need to edit it and add more, but I have a list of preliminary features and a quote. So
list.
Oh, you clicked on it already? Telegram has told me you haven't read it yet. So
you have
sneaky
testimonial.
Ah, look, that looks so legit.
And I'm just copying this text from your GitHub page.
Yeah. This is the best quote ever. Boom.
So now I know what you're dying to ask. What does this look like in an actual browser preview?
Yeah, let's preview it. How does it look on a phone? Is it responsive?
Wow. We can preview inside of our deal here what this looks like. It's not really a good representation.
Actually, it doesn't look that bad. But yeah. Our like big empty space problem goes away.
Well, because we added more content. Like, really, that was the issue. So when we extend this, it's still dropping down, which I don't necessarily not like, and that would drive me crazy. But you know what? We are explaining what a calculator does in an accordion menu, and it's a video, and that's good enough for now.
Wait, you don't like that it's closed, or you like? What do you like about it?
So it's okay. When you click on it, I don't like that it moves the content down. Ideally, we would have this locked in a frame that was big enough to hold at least one of these accordions, so that if you just click on one of them,
Yeah, that would be nice.
Change the appearance of the
Probably be sweet if can the accordion open from like the right?
I think we're limited on the built-in options for what the accordion can do, but we can absolutely create custom HTML elements and add them in as just HTML block code.
Gotcha.
So that's definitely something that's super easy to do. You know what's great is in the course of this, we started just talking about the plugins that we're using, designing the theme, and in that time period, we've gone through and we have fully developed a full checklist of everything that you needed for your website to have. And like we're still even just getting started. Like there's so much more that we can do with this.
Yeah, this is looking sweet though.
And I mean, so I'm gonna switch over here, and I want to ask you just a couple more questions here. So when it comes to WordPress now, and in particular your website, based off of what we've gone over, do you think that you have enough understanding of how this all is kind of glued together to kind of put together your own setup and take what I've put together for you now and kind of go further from there, being able to explore the customization options for the theme and adjust the fonts and the colors to your liking?
I think so. Yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't cover that you're curious about, or you think we should dive into a little bit more in relation to what we put together for your site?
I guess based on what we've covered so far, maybe how to access the CES a little bit more. It was a little fast, but
yeah. Okay, so for that, we are using the default theme customizer. So if you are at any point on the site, you can click customize, or if you're in
Are we no longer sharing? Or
oh yeah, okay, hold on. You're totally right.
Boom.
Look at you. Okay, there's two places that we can pull that up. So you can go to Appearance and Customize from the WordPress dashboard. And it also exists if you are on like the website itself. There's a big button on every page that says Customize when you're logged in. When you click that, it's going to load a live preview of your website and give you all of the wonderful, beautiful site options for you to go through and adjust.
Perfect.
And in particular, you were asking about additional CSS. This is where we can put all of the advanced code.
There's literally something called additional CSS that you just click.
It is literally called additional CSS. Now, the hosting platform that we're using actually locks out a couple of things that for higher level security. One of them being the file system for WordPress itself. WordPress actually has a more extensive editor built into it that lets you edit the theme files directly as they're installed. However, our hosting company that we're using for your website has that disabled for security reasons and gives you only read-only access to the application side of the hosting. This prevents any sort of malicious code from injecting into that. But the additional CSS and the theme options save into the database and get loaded when your site gets loaded. So we can add into whatever we want, and it will generate and store the correct pages in memory and all that fun stuff. But
Sweet.
It's doing so in a more of a secure, roundabout manner. Now, this part, though, and I just want to point this out, everything that you put into the additional CSS box is going to be loaded on every single page. So you want to be lean with that, because those are the global CSS settings. You can include style tags and individual div tags within the HTML code blocks if you're only going to be doing an individual element. And from there, and this is something that's great. Say you're designing something that you are going to want to reuse. With the Gutenberg editor, you can actually save different blocks. You can save those blocks to be reusable. And so as you go through and building a page, you might design like a layout that you're really happy with, and then you can save that. And then when you're building another page, you can recall that layout from within the block editor and reuse that on the new page that you're building. And that's part of the reasons why I dive in and go and pull WordPress off before any sort of other static site generators or whatever. I mean, there's a joke with developers that they spend hundreds of hours building the perfect blogging platform, and they make 3 posts. Hello world, sorry I haven't posted in a while, and shutting down my blog. And that's the extent of it. But when you really think about what actually is important when it comes down to it, is it's not how your website's built, how it's generating the content, how it's hosting, and none of that really matters. What really matters is the content that you're posting onto your website. And if WordPress is going to get us there faster, then so be it. Because what makes technology so great is we can always change it later. Even though we're building with WordPress today and getting it set up today, we might decide that it's not the best fit and want to change it tomorrow. But we have the flexibility for that because it's in our control. It's in our control to make those decisions, move the domain around, and that's great. But out of the box, being able to go through and reuse those blocks makes these CSS code changes. And you know what? Check this out. Boom. Your site supports dark mode. Just like that. Out of the box, dark mode. And
Sweet.
That would take you a solid few hours to implement on your own for your own CSS and everything. And this is just, it's already done. Like, it's applied. And it may not be the best color schemes that we may like, but this is going to apply on a mobile. If you're on Mac OS and you have dark mode set, like, and you come and you view the website now, like, you're going to be able to have that dark mode theme applied.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Automatically. And it's these tool sets that make using WordPress such a magical experience, I feel like, because there's just so much of this that's done for you that you can just focus purely on the content. So I've got dark mode on, and we see our FAQ has some issues. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect.
What?
But it's a start. And
I'm assuming you can customize these colors.
Oh yeah, everything about this is customizable. And if you're trying to figure out where something is, you can use the inspect toolbar.
Wait, what happened to the features? Are they also color clear?
I did the unfortunate thing of not saving the page before I closed it, so we'll have to copy and paste that text.
Gotcha.
So, also, I don't know if you know this, in the Chrome DevTools, they actually have a responsive viewpoint that reloads it. So right now, this is looking at Moto G4. I'm gonna extend this to iPad Pro and get a feel of the line.
Oh man, this is looking good.
Yeah. So this is what I do. Like, I love building websites because there's all these little things that are just relatively basic. I feel like they're built into the browser and it's HTML, and when you start to have an understanding of how to put this all together, it can be a lot of fun. I think that the instant responsiveness of being able to upload an image and see that live web page on the internet is really neat. Being able to make that collaborative so that you can come through and add information to that web page as well is phenomenal. Like, right now, you're going to be able to log in and adjust all of the content, the appearance of the website, and everything in between. And how long did it take us to deploy this website? It was like, 5 minutes, and we went from not having a marketing plan to having a scheduled time to talk about building a website to going through and having that live. The turnaround time is near instant, and like, that's what's part of the fun. And now you can go away from having to worry about how am I going to get this done to, okay, now I actually have to go through and do this and add some culinary measurement conversions to my app and whatever. But WordPress is going to give you the flexibility to have a place to give your users especially the non-technical users that may not be familiar with GitHub, a place to find out how to contact you, the developer, and give feedback that they may not otherwise be able to because of the just the cost to start with GitHub, so to speak.
Right.
You're removing the barrier to entry by bringing the most compatibility. The other great thing, and this is something that we can talk about in a future video, is branding your application and your support. Because we have a domain now, you can actually set up support at nextcalc.app to filter through any sort of support requests that come through for this specifically.
Right. That would be pretty sweet.
And WordPress can be actually extended kind of far. If we go to WordPress.org, they actually have some interesting ways you can use WordPress. You can even set up a help desk plugin. I kid you not. You can get a plugin for WordPress that's going to let you, I'm trying to scroll down to the bottom here. As you can see, for free, this gives you a ton of features. But you can have a full ticketing system.
What the heck?
Integrated to your website with the click of a plugin, and this is part of the magic behind WordPress.
We'll just see those be in progress for years.
But
my bad.
Look at this. With a click of installing one plugin would give you.
How does that, like, it has a database and everything, and it stores everything, and
yes. So WordPress is a PHP application that's driven by a database backend. So you can easily put together a plugin like a ticketing system that utilizes that existing database connection and allows it to be extended further. In this case, it's built a ticketing system that's integrated into WordPress with the power of just installing a plugin. Like, you would be able to install this and deploy a full feature ticketing system within your website relatively quickly. Not only that, WooCommerce is one of the largest, most popular e-commerce plugins for WordPress. It's the same thing. You install a plugin and you can start making sales on your website. And like, that's the functionality that makes WordPress so popular. Like, even...
Yeah, that's sweet.
I'm going to show you a website that might surprise you is running on WordPress. Now, how do we know a website's running on WordPress? Well, there's a few ways, and let's see if
they just updated this website to support dark mode.
Did they though? Or...
Yeah, you can look. You can click the. You can.
I saw that, but you know what's funny though?
It doesn't support like Mac OS dark mode.
Yeah, because they're using. I wonder if we can find that plugin that they're using to give you that. But as you can clearly see, they are using WordPress. The telltale sign here is the WP content directory.
Ah. It doesn't stand for white pages.
Let's search for. I said contrast. Go con, no foot. Accessibility. So they're not actually classifying this as dark mode. That's the difference. They're saying this is accessibility high contrast.
Ah.
And so they have.
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, there's some class or something you have to extend or use.
Yeah, but right here they're using their CSS class is saying that it's creating a contrast cookie to determine what
I was going to say,
using.
So basically turn it on and forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you visit whitehouse.gov in incognito for some reason.
Yeah, then you want to get that same styling applied. So, I mean... But I've always found a certain love with just being able to spin up a website with a database, and like just the plugins that go along with that are just... They get silly, I feel like. There's so much that you can get away with and do. But contact form, so... Plugins one more time.
Yeah, I think the main thing I need is like, do they have like an App Store plugin or a Test Flight plugin? Because I can post a link to Test Flight, but like it would be nice to have like the Test Flight photo. or the link, an App Store photo.
There's a feature that happens. No.
I was thinking about like taking a screenshot of the test flight icon and then cropping it and throwing that as a image with an href.
There's something that happens when you visit a web page that has an app, where at the top of the page it will pop up and say, open the link in the app, or it will take you directly to the App Store. Like if you were to visit, for instance, the like nextcloud.org website on your mobile app, it would pop and say up at the very top and say, do you want to install this app from the
Oh
App
yeah.
Store? I think that's what you want.
That's something. I think that's an associated link or something. I think you have to put something in the root of your website, and then yeah, it's
Well, guess what?
app association.
It looks like there's a plugin for it, but
Not just for Android.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. If it contains in the URL, it will do the redirection. So there is a WordPress plugin that will let us set it up, but I think for our usages, we will probably make a modification to the code that has it contained instead. That way we can take control over that whole thing. So Josh, I don't know if you know this, but because your site is powered by WordPress, you can actually install the iOS and iPad application and edit on the go.
What? You should have started with that. Just kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding. That is awesome. And you gave me my username and password, so I can log right in?
You should be able to log right in and start making posts. Press make post. Now the other thing that we can go through and do, and this gets more into some craziness that's more experimental, but I'm not the only one with this idea here. WordPress actually has a full REST API that you can trigger over webhooks with API credentials. So in theory, because I know you as a developer are very akin to pushing things to Git, and the less places you as a developer have to go to update content, the more likely it is that you're actually going to do that. However, personally, as the individual that I am, I don't like embedding third-party content. But what if, for instance, we could take advantage of GitHub's actions so that when you publish to your doc repo, it actually pushes that content to the WordPress webhook and creates a post on your site as well. So
That'd
in addition
sick.
to being able to publish your, say you want to keep your changelog in sync and have that published to the changelog category for your post. So when you update your application, you upload your changelog file, you can have that trigger an action that creates a post on your WordPress site, filters through that text, and only creates the last block of your changelog and creates a blog post about that. Like, you can automate that, and WordPress enables you inside of the application itself to do that. Like, it's built in to WordPress. And I think that's so cool. The other thing that's amazing is you can actually do posts via email. So you don't actually need to log in to WordPress itself. You can create a custom string to use. And these aren't going to be valid because, well, you know what? That would be silly if we used strings that we just posted here. But you get the idea here. You can create kind of a specialized email account or tag your post and what have you, and they'll show up in the whatever category you set up. So this is great if you, say, wanted to subvert some surveillance, or if your website was blocked behind a corporate network, but you wanted to still keep your fans up to date. You can take advantage of the email settings, send from an email account that you can get passed, and it will update your website and keep everything going, which means that you have no excuse now You can update this in so many ways. There's nothing holding you back from producing content and putting it out there. You can automate the delivery of that and more because you are in control. You have a full REST API framework with WordPress. You can extend that to do whatever you want. With the drag and drop visual builders, you don't need to worry about thinking about HTML code or CSS out of the box. You can build the page that you need to get the message across and move forward with just the application development.
Sounds sweet. I'm excited. I really like the idea of a change log. I don't think anyone's read it except me, but my test flight has a huge change log.
I saw that. I was pretty excited. So, all right, Josh, I
just concatenate all of my Git commit messages.
And now we can turn that into a blog post. So yeah. I think maybe in one of our next episodes, we'll have to talk about how you can do that and use GitHub Actions and WordPress to build that out. I think that would be a fun show topic to do.
Yeah, so that would be pretty sweet.
Plan that out. All right, Josh, we are actually at the end time for our live show tonight. It is now 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and time to say goodbye. Once again, my name is Roger. I'm your host. Joining me today is Josh Angelsberg, and we were working on his site for his application. And I just real quick here before we go, I just want to pop that QR code up in the corner. You can see that in the right-hand corner one more time. If you want to check out Josh's calculator application, you can install via test flight and provide some feedback on how that goes. And once the site's ready, it's going to probably take a little bit of time, but you'll be able to check it out at nextcalc.app. Signing off. Thanks again for joining me today, Josh, and we hope to have you on our live show once again at some point.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. And for all of our viewers, thank you once again for joining us. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or comments, feel free to either submit a comment on the live streaming platform of choice, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter's Periscope, on our website at webdev.live, or via email directly. You can email me at noreply@validrouteerror.com, or find me on Twitter at validrouteerror. Thank you once again, and have a good evening.